We'll use a second. If somebody can check the audio before we get going, that would also be nice.
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good.
Yeah.
Do I sound different? Or do I sound better?
You sound way different, honestly.
Yeah.
Really?
Not in a bad way, though.
Is that Cooper?
Is it good?
I'm just kidding.
No, it's me.
I know, I'm kidding with you. Oh, no, I'm just messing. But, yeah, so that sounds good.
I bet. Can you guys hear me from back here? I'm leaning way farther back now.
We can hear you, it's just a little bit quiet.
It is? Alright, I'll lean forward in.
Whatever you got it in, just picking up a lot. I think I like the previous setting better. I can't lie.
Yeah, the earlier one where you were a little bit closer.
You like this better?
Yes.
Alright, that's because I'm speaking into it now.
There you go.
I see.
Alright, I'm sending out the tweets.
I can just click on it from there.
Are you going? Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, we are live. Is it showing for you? Adam?
Hold on. My shit. It's making me log into Twitter real quick. Hold on.
Twitter?
I can tell you in like 5 seconds. I don't know why it logged me out of everything. Let me.
Paul, do you know anybody that does any voiceovers?
Does any voiceovers?
Yeah.
I've done all my voiceovers on, like, AI.
Like what AI?
Like, on, like, my editing software. Why, you wanna do an intro? Like, I have an intro?
Is it free? Or no?
Could figure something out. We'll work on that in a little bit.
I gotcha.
Alright, I just tweeted it and tagged you guys if you guys wanna... You just can send it in, someone send it in the college football chat.
Yeah, I'll send it in there.
There we are.
W fellas, we're starting here at 10:30. A little bit behind schedule because of my lasagna. But we post this on Facebook as well and tweet it, so we should be good. I'm gonna get the chat pulled up. Shout out the chat last couple of weeks. Been pretty good, but if anybody is able to pull up the stream and just kind of just check our audio. When I listened to it back, I was like way louder than you guys, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, your mic kind of was going in and out.
Yeah, that's
earlier. It seems fine now.
Okay, I have it closer to my mouth now, so hopefully it's all good. If you guys are ready, if you guys are ready,
freeze like we did. I'm good.
Do it.
Let's do it. All right, guys, I'm here live. I got the chat pulled up. Welcome everybody to the We Know Ball College Football Podcast. This is episode 2. I'm joined here by my fellow co-host, Mr. Bryce Duke.
What's up, people?
New mic. We're moving on with that. Mr. Adam Smith.
Yo.
And I want to welcome everybody, our newest permanent co-host, Big Stigs.
That's a round of applause right there.
Yeah, that's a round of applause. As always, I'm Paul.
Let's go.
Thank you guys for tuning in here for another week of our college football podcast. I want to give a shout out to our designer Sketchy, who really helped out with our presentation this week. He made it and made it look a lot better, so shout out to him. As always, we got our 2 sponsors currently for the podcast. It's G Fuel. Yeah, there's been some news going around with G Fuel. I'm not going to touch on it. I know what's going on, but I'm not going to touch on it. But shout out to G Fuel, the official drink of Family Ties. Go ahead to them for all your hydration, energy, and protein. Now, they are your current drink and the official sponsor of the We Know Ball podcast. Thanks. Our other sponsor, that is Velocity Esports on the Levee. Velocity Esports on the Levee is where family meets fun. We want to give a big shout out to everybody over there for sponsoring and doing everything for Family Ties, the official home of Family Ties, and the We Know Ball podcast. So we can get a round of applause for our sponsors tonight. Or just me. That's okay. Unless you guys were doing it, I just couldn't hear it. Okay. So we're gonna go on with our.
That's my bad.
We're good. So we're gonna started with our first topic. As you guys know, there is no more delay, so my co-host will be live. Game 1, Week 1 recap. Once again, production quality is way up from my normal thing. So we're going to go game by game here. Sketchy laid it out for us. So we will go game by game and kind of just briefly speak over what happened in these games. We got Ohio State versus Texas, the first one on here. Ohio State wins 14-7. I kind of want to go to Stiggs here. What do you have to say?
Yep. I'm glad you went to me because I did pick this one of the few I got right this week. So we'll take credit for that. Dude, me and you already been discussing this throughout the week, man. But Matt Patricia locked in that defense. That did not miss a beat. I know there was talk that there would be a big drop-off with, how much he lost. And with losing probably the best defensive coordinator in college football, Jim Knowles, shout out Fakes, called that years ago.
He did.
Yeah, it was just an overall great game by the defense, and Julian Sand looked really smooth, no mistakes, and that's really all you need when you're Ohio State quarterbacks. Get the ball to the playmakers, no mistakes, easy dub. Not easy dub, but
Yeah, definitely. I was really just kind of piggybacking off what you said. Ohio State had Texas shut out until 3.5 minutes into the left in this game, which if you would have told me that going into it, I wouldn't have believed you. I just want to say just for a second here on Arch, I think people are being a little bit too harsh on the kid. Maybe his expectations were too high and everything, but for a first career start, you could tell the jitters were there. His mechanics were not there that were there previously, why he had the hype he does. But, I mean, I think Texas is going to be just fine. I think they will, and I think that Arch is eventually going to be just fine. They play a weaker schedule here the next couple weeks, so he'll be able to get his rhythm and find his groove. But overall, the hate on Arch Manning, even by halftime, was just crazy. It wasn't like the receivers were getting open, but given that, he did miss some wide open passes. But I think he's going to be okay, and I'm very happy, and I'm happy that we're back where we are. I got a lot more confidence after this game than I was going into it about the year, I will say. But Adam and Bryce, do you guys have anything you want to add?
I like that. I like to say something about Arch real quick. Coming into this game, he was missing people left and right. Like this game could have been a lot different for Texas if he was not as shaky. And I feel like later on in the game, he started to find a rhythm. Like more towards closer to the end of the game, he started to kind of get his swagger. He started to get comfortable, but it was too late. I think if he was playing like that all game, it would have been different. But you could tell, like you said, he was definitely shaky. He was definitely jittery. He couldn't really get a flow. His mechanics, like his throwing motion, was just off. He was missing people too high, too low, and these guys were wide open. So I think moving forward, Arch will be a little bit more comfortable and confident in the pocket. And that was a tough first start for him, especially for a season opener. So I think moving forward, he will be a lot better than what he showed against Ohio State.
Adam?
I just wanted to say something about saying real quick. The numbers, they don't look like pretty or anything, but during the first quarter, he had 3 drops, 2 of them by Jeremiah Smith, which never really happens, and then Max Clare dropping a wide open pass on 4th down. But I thought he looked really well in his first start, especially against a good defense as Texas has. And I agree with what you guys are saying on Arch. I think he's going to be all right. I mean, making your first career start against Ohio State at Ohio State, it's not a recipe for success.
Yeah, I agree with you too there, Adam. I think Sand was showing a lot of poise. I think I was talking to Stiggs about this during the game. He was pretty on target. I mean, he didn't play perfect by any means, but he seemed to be the more confident quarterback. Maybe being at home helped him there. I'm interested to see how he goes from here on out, but overall I felt pretty happy with his performance. Without the drops, he was sitting at 16 of 20 or somewhere around there, which is pretty efficient. So he didn't turn the ball over. So overall I'm pretty happy with that. And we'll go on to the next game here. Adam, you can start us off here. This Nebraska 20, Cincinnati 17, the Thursday night game.
Well, Scott Satterfield strikes again. It just honestly, man, the defense played really well. I'll just start with that. They were flying at the ball, which is something we really haven't had the last 2 years under Satterfield. But like Jake Galladay, he won Big 12 Player of the Week this week. He had like 12 tackles. He was everywhere. The DBs, I mean, they were giving up a decent like dink and dunk plays because we play a soft zone. So I mean, that's just natural. I mean, Dylan Raiola had 34 completions and had 250 passing yards. Like, it's not like he played really well. So the defense kept us in it, but time and time again with this offense and Scott Satterfield's offense, they didn't let Sorsby really take that many shots.
Yep.
It's all screen plays, passed on the line of scrimmage or whatever. The running game was really good. I don't understand playing 4 running backs. I think it should be literally Tywee and Evan Pryor, Manny Covey, and Chance Williams should not see the field, in my opinion. And then, of course, they're going down the field. They can earn field goal range. Then they finally let Sorsby throw the ball downfield, and it's intercepted. But yeah, it just feels like a game I've watched 5 or 6 times already in the Scott Satterfield era.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I missed the first half of this game, but the second half of the game went how you said. I thought Cincinnati, I mean, after being down 10 at half, they started to really gain momentum in the second half and started working well with what was, given to them. That first drive out of the second half, I think, started really strong. Sorsby ran the ball a lot on that drive, but like you said, they almost were one-dimensional and too predictable, in my opinion, on the offensive side of the ball. Stiggs, do you have anything you want to say? I know you were pretty in tune with this game.
Yeah. So just to kind of piggyback off what Adam said, throw a couple stats at you that I looked up about this game. So UC, their receivers had one of the lowest receiving grades per PFF, 49.4. No separation really being had. That was a worry coming into the season as well. Another one is, and kind of to piggyback off what Adam said, the Sorsby's not asked to do too much, in terms of making like big throws and throwing down the field, and he wasn't at Indiana either. But minimum 700 dropbacks. He has the lowest big time throw rate of any college quarterback that is active. So I just thought that was kind of an insane stat, and it kind of just shows you he really wasn't asked to do it a lot throughout his career. So, exactly what Adam said. They asked him to do it in crunch time, fourth quarter, less than a minute left, and it didn't work out. If you want him to do something he hasn't done before in his career, you gotta build on it earlier in the game. Get him in a rhythm.
I agree. This was a big game for Cincinnati and even Nebraska. And the thing I was going to say before we go to Bryce is, the good news for Cincinnati is this isn't a backbreaker game. It wasn't a conference game. You lost by 3. It's not anything that's going to destroy your resume by any means. So there's still a lot of season left. There was a lot of good, and there was some bad. But overall, I think that they didn't overall play bad, though. I mean, they covered, right, Adam?
Yeah.
Which I know that's not everything, but you get what I mean. This isn't a back-breaking loss, is all I was going to say. They were in position to win this game multiple times, is all I was going to say. And Bryce, do you have anything? I'm going to go ahead, Adam.
Real quick, I want to add something that you said earlier, talking about how they got too one-dimensional. Usually I agree with that, but in the second half, Nebraska could not stop the run at all. Like, Sorsby was running all up and down them. Tywee and Evan Pryor, I don't know what they ended up statistically, but it felt like they were getting 5, 6, 7, 8 yards every snap they had. So in that sort of sense, I guess if it keeps working, do it till it doesn't. And then what Dave said as well, with the stats he brought up, it just, in the Big 12, you have to throw the ball to win most games, more often than not.
Yep.
And the reason why I think we keep struggling in these said games is because, again, when you go in the crunch time and you need to throw the ball, he doesn't really do it that often because all he does is dink and dunk and screens and stuff. And I feel like that's what causes us to lose all of these games. Like I said, it feels like it's the same thing over and over and over again, and it's not being fixed.
Yeah, I agree with you. What I mean by that is like with how well Cincinnati ran the ball, I was very shocked at how much like I thought they could have literally done really well in the play action game with how well they were running the ball. Is what I was kind of meaning by that. Like, in my opinion, when you run the ball really well, it opens up that the play action ability.
Yeah.
Bryce, you have anything you want to add to it?
I was going to say that Cincinnati had a chance to win this game. Like, even though it came down to the end and they were coming back all game, they were within field goal range before Sorbsy threw that pick. I don't know what the thinking is there, trying to go for a home run play when you could just play the field and play for overtime. And I can certainly understand wanting to go for the win, but in a situation like that, like ball security is priority number one if you're trying to extend this game. And I feel like Sorbsy throwing it up out there after the type of game he had on the ground with his legs was a little bit of a disappointment. But I do think Cincinnati will be a sleeper team in the Big 12, especially with how they played against Nebraska. So I don't think they're only going to get better from here, to be completely honest. But we'll see moving forward.
Okay, one more thing. Sorry,
Yeah.
I keep bringing up the things. On that pass, I mean, I didn't agree with the play call, whatever. But if Sorsby throws it a little bit further, and he had Goody on the outside shoulder, like he could have got that. He just underthrew it a little bit, and that's how I got picked. But,
Also,
yeah.
like the wide receiver, this bro had to know that that safety was coming over the top. Like the wide receiver
Yeah.
did nothing to try to defend that play. Like he just let it happen. So the wide receiver is also just as much to blame for this here. He could have done something to prevent that pick, and he did absolutely nothing.
We'll move on to the next game. I think that was covered pretty well. So our next game, we have LSU and Clemson, the nightcap on Saturday night. This was a pretty good game. 17-10 the final score, LSU over Clemson. I did pick Clemson as my lock of the week, so I can kind of start out on this. As bad as it sounds, I'm not a fan of Brian Kelly by any means. LSU's offensive coordinator was dialed in this game. The amount of open receivers and the play calls that I saw to really neutralize the D-line for Clemson, it was great. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw a lot of flood concepts, a lot of big time plays happening right behind the line of scrimmage, where a lot of yak. You know what I mean? And I got to give Nussmeier some credit here. Clemson only mustering 10 points at home. Not too great. LSU with a great game plan. Brian Kelly finally wins a week one opener. LSU looks a lot better. I hope that. I mean, LSU hype is in, and I think that is 100% earned so far. I just am wondering, what is Clemson like? Do we think that Clemson's overrated? Do we think that Clemson is properly rated? Do we think LSU is just better than what a lot of people thought? I'm open to all. I want to see what the rest of the field results show us.
I think LSU is a national championship caliber team this year. I think that they are a sleeper, not only for the playoffs, but like I said, to make the title game. I don't feel like nobody's really talking about them, and they have so much experience coming back this year. That's one of the reasons I picked them as my upset pick of the week, because I feel so strongly in LSU's ability to compete this year, especially in an SEC conference that's honestly taking another step back in my opinion. So I look forward to seeing how they play for the rest of the year. But that was a big win for them, moving on especially on the road.
I agree. Adam?
Going into this, I wasn't really expecting LSU's defense to be as dominant as they were in this game. Like, I do agree with Fakes. If their defense plays like this somehow the entire year, they are definitely a national title contender. Especially all they need from Nuss, if they play like this, is to just don't give up the ball, basically. Yep. But I do think Clemson will be just fine. Like, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Texas, although this was at Clemson. I mean, you're playing a top team. You didn't really score that much. The ACC, I still think, is weak. But I still think they can still easily win the ACC and make the playoffs. Still, I think they'll be fine.
I do too. The ACC, I'll give some credit to. The top teams are really showing the top right now. Like, they're starting to compete with the top of the other conferences. It's the rest that I'm worried about for the ACC. Stiggs, we'll go to you about this game.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. You guys pretty much touched on everything. LSU had a great game plan. Clemson has a dominant defensive line, and they let Garrett get the ball out really quick to the playmakers. Even though the defensive line of Clemson still made some big plays, they had a really good game plan for him. And I just wanted to bring up two players. Antonio Williams, Clemson's number one receiver, was banged up. Really felt like he might have made a difference. But in the same coin, LSU DB transferred in from Va Tech, Mansour Delane.
Yep.
Absolute freak game. One catch allowed on 8 targets, 2 pass breakups, and a pick. Highest graded DB this week. Insane game from him. Huge high impact transfer. And he was a big difference shutting down their other weapons.
I agree completely. And LSU defense, I think that's the underlying winner of this game. On to the next one here. Notre Dame falls at Miami. I'm pretty sure we had a clean sweep here of Notre Dame. Miami wins 27-24. Cristobal tried to Cristobal this, Stig, so I'll start with you. It seemed like towards the end. But overall, Carson Beck didn't look bad. I don't know where he was talking about all the rough times came for, where driving a Lamborghini and stuff. It can't be that bad. But overall, this was a really good game, and Miami's defense showed out, Stiggs.
I was about to say, you got to give so much credit to Miami's defense here, man. We were all kind of talking about how much can you really turn around a team, or much less a defense that was that bad. Well, you can't really get worse than Miami last year, right? Cam Ward had to put up 40 to have a chance.
Yep.
Part of the reason that he was the Heisman favorite for a long portion of the season.
Number 1 overall pick.
Right, yeah, number 1 overall pick. Can't believe I skipped over that. But Carson Beck's got some better weapons. I know Georgia's upgraded their wide receiver weapons this year. Carson Beck has some really good weapons that than he had the previous year at Georgia. I'm talking about C.J. Daniels, talking about Malichi Toney. C.J. Daniels made that crazy catch. Malichi Toney showed some really quick twitch athleticism, big yards after the catch. And shout out Ruben Bain, freak defensive end. Had that crazy pick and also had a couple tackles for loss and a sack. So, yeah, everyone. And why does Notre Dame not give Jeremiah Love the ball more? That's just my biggest question mark from this game. But I'm sure they'll figure it out and they'll be fine. But Miami, potential playoff team now. I gotta think that they can maybe compete with Clemson.
I agree with you there. That's another thing. Like, Notre Dame's not out from this. Obviously, it doesn't hurt them for a conference loss because they're not in a conference. But Miami, this is a big big win for the program recently. They haven't really had a win over a top program like this in a while, to where they can really build momentum. There was a while last year where Miami was winning and they were going undefeated for a while, but no one really believed in them. You know what I mean? They're getting 1 point win over mid teams over and over again. This game, they felt like they belonged in this. And Adam, is there anything you want to say about this?
Dave pretty much took all the talking points I had. Like I was going to shout out Ruben Bain. I feel like he was everywhere for the Miami. And again, Jeremiah Love, he should get the ball. He didn't understand his usage in the game at all. And I did want to point out one specific play, because I got PTSD from Mike Denbrock at UC, when he threw a wide car through the wide receiver screen, got tipped up like 3 times, intercepted. Just felt like a play I've watched over and over when he was the offensive coordinator at UC. But yeah, like I said, I pretty much agree with everything you guys said.
Yep, and then Bryce?
There's a lot I got to say about this game.
I know you're a Notre Dame guy.
I'm about to say, the Notre Dame defense starts now.
Going into the fourth quarter, Jeremiah Love only touched the ball 5 times. Going into the fourth quarter, he had only touched the ball 5 times. That is absolutely ridiculous. The best player on your team only touched the ball 5. That's coaching malpractice at its finest. The fact he was not getting more touches and not involved more offensively, that could have easily changed the game. Miami played great. I think this was a good game overall. I don't think this is a step back for Notre Dame whatsoever. I mean, they were a crazy interception away and a crazy touchdown catch away from this being a completely different game. If C.J. Daniels doesn't have that insane catch, that's more than likely an interception and a turnover. And then if there was not the toe tap, kick six, or kick pick, I should say, then that's a turnover that does not happen. That Notre Dame probably holds the ball for, probably drives. Maybe they score, maybe they don't. Either way, it doesn't turn into 3 points for Miami, which is what Miami beat Notre Dame by, was 3 points. So there's a lot I can say about this game. I think overall it was just a great game. I think both defenses played very well, and both offenses played very well. This game, I think, shows more about who Miami is now, especially this year, than it does for anything else. I think Notre Dame with CJ Carr will be good. I think there's going to be a little bit of learning curves, but for him to come in and him play his first ever game like that, I was very impressed with how he played and how he handled himself. So, like Marcus Freeman said, I think the ceiling is high for him, and there's not much to criticize about him and his ability to play the game.
Yep.
Yeah,
There is one player.
Sorry, I just want to say, glad you brought up CJ Carr. I forgot to mention that. He showed some real moxie. I know it was a tough game for him, but yeah, good shout.
There is a player that caught my eye for Miami, and it's not CJ Daniels. It's another wide receiver, Malachi Tony, or Malach. I don't know how to say his first name. He was number 10. He's a freshman, and he was crazy. I think he will be a future name in college football. Honestly, maybe even a dark horse to win the Blitnikoff this year. Some of the stuff he was doing on the field was just, it was different. He's a different talent that I think we're going to hear a lot more of this college football season.
I agree with you guys. Like you said, I think this game shows more about Miami than Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not going anywhere. They should be in the playoff regardless. So we'll move on to the next game. Sorry. Ooh. So, you know how last couple games we talked about with Texas, and we talked about with Notre Dame losing and Clemson. We're like, you know what, they're going to be okay. They showed fight in this game. They're going to be okay. Not this game. Florida State steamrolls Alabama 31-17. I'm not sure if that score even says how big of a gap this game really was. Alabama got outplayed, out-hustled, out-coached on every phase of the game. And, you know, Castellanos coming out and saying that months ago, and everyone laughs at him about they don't have Saban, who's going to stop me, and then going out and backing it up the way he did. I mean, that was just complete, like, that was so, I don't know how else to say that. That was aura right there.
He's the Heisman front runner.
Yeah.
I don't think of another player that can be. He was what he did over the weekend was something I don't think we've seen a quarterback do before. Has there ever been a quarterback that's talked that much crap on social media and then turned around and backed it up the way he did? I mean, I can't really think of one off the top of my head. Aside from maybe Johnny Manziel.
I was gonna say maybe Baker Mayfield, maybe not social media wise, but like just talking crap and backing it up the way he did.
Talking crap to Kansas, yeah. Kansas 0-10 Kansas, yeah. Anybody would talk crap to them.
So I'll say this. We'll kind of breeze through this game a little bit because I want to start getting on to the next things. But I'll just ask a simple question for each one of you guys, and then you guys can briefly explain what you guys think. Because we just said about the last game. Does this game speak more to you about who Florida State is this year or who Alabama is? Go ahead, Brace.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Florida State is here to play. They have turned a roster around. Gus Malzahn's now on the roster. And I think that had a big part of why they were so dialed in to beat Alabama, just because he had ties from Auburn. And he obviously hates Alabama. But Alabama also, I'm sure we've all seen the clips. They were not trying. It seemed like they were not trying at all. And the fact that they were able to, the fact that Caleb DeBoer put that product out on the field in front of the entire country to see, I don't know how it's going to be for him moving forward. I've really rethought my predictions on how many wins Alabama's going to win this year, and I think it could be a really bad year for them if they play like that for the rest of the season.
Whoa. Hold on. Don't go too far. I agree with you. Also, like, the stuff before the game, like, they're warming up with phones in their hands, and they're bringing – you guys hear the stories about, like, bringing girlfriends to the hotels late at night and stuff, and, like, they're late to take the bus to the stadium. Like, that's just not a good look. Could have been a really, really bad weekend and day for the SEC overall if it would have had LSU lost Bama and Texas on the same day. I think LSU really saved them. on the nightcap. But Adam, does this game say more to you about Alabama or Florida State?
Like Bryce said, it's more of both.
You guys are taking the cheap way out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah, but I mean, Florida State. I think not getting into playoff in 2023 really deflated this entire program. You know, you go from being at that extreme high, then you get let down.
Yeah. Remember
Get
who
beat
got
by
in over
60
them,
in the
right?
bowl game.
Remember who got in over
Huh?
them?
Oh yeah, this is the Alabama team.
You got to think that
Nah.
might be a factor, right?
Could be, but yeah, I mean, this program completely flatlined last year. They turned it around. Can they keep it up? We'll see. But Bama, it just like you said, brought up the what Caden Proctor. He's sitting there doing his pregame warm-ups with his phone in his hand. It's just, it's not the Alabama we're used to seeing. I don't know what it. I don't know what they can fix. You know, I think it's gonna be a long year for them.
Yeah, and we'll go over to Stiggs here. Nickel, nickel, nickel. Go ahead and
Yo.
go ahead with Stiggs here.
I won't take the cheap way out. It's
Thank-
easy to say that it's more about Florida State turning a program around, and you do have to give them credit. But to what Fake said, man, when one of the greatest programs of the sport, their players are showing effort concerns, jogging on the field, like that's very, very concerning. And I think it's more about them. I'm not ready to, sell house and sell stock on them just yet. It's one game. Let's see how they bounce back. I'm really interested to see, but I did want to just throw this stat out.
Yep.
Nick Saban, 63-4 as a double-digit favorite in 17 years at Bama. Kalen DeBoer, 1-4 in a
Oh.
season and one game.
Yeah, there's another
So-
stat out there, Stiggs, about their records against unranked opponents. They now have the same amount of losses.
Yeah, that's.
It's not
He was
ideal.
there for 17 years. That's
Yeah.
that's more about Nick Saban. That's more about Nick Saban than Kalen DeBoer, but that's still a problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with both of you guys. Let's see. I think we got another game on here. We'll go on to the next one. Well, we're not done with Alabama on the show tonight. I'll say that. Auburn and Baylor. We can kind of go brief through this one quickly. 38-24 the final. Auburn. Stiggs, being you picked this one right. Bryce, you were at this game.
Yes, I went to this game. I will say the scoreboard's a little bit closer than it looks. Auburn took an early lead, and then granted they held that lead. They held pretty much a touchdown to 2-touchdown lead all game. But by no means was it like a blowout. They were in that game with Baylor. A good chunk of the game. Baylor was always fighting. Auburn did get a kick return, and I think whenever they got that kick return, that sealed the game for them. It gave them the W because special teams can literally make or break a game for you. And whenever they got that kick return, that just took all momentum and took time off the clock. I think this is more of, I just want to throw this out here. I absolutely am not a fan of the new clock stopping rules. I cannot stand the fact that a first down doesn't stop the clock, that out of bounds doesn't stop the clock. Incomplete pat. Like, this is a serious problem because teams are getting less drives now.
Yeah. I
For
agree with
example,
you. we only got
Notre Dame-
9 on Saturday. The whole
Yeah.
game.
Notre Dame did not touch the ball coming out of halftime until 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the third quarter. That was the first time they touched the ball. That is ridiculous. That is crazy.
Yeah, I don't like it either. To be honest with you, I kind of thought it was what made college football great. That's why we have high-scoring games and stuff. But yeah, like I said, Ohio State only had 9 possessions the entire game Saturday. Like it wasn't.
That's
wasn't-
insane.
Yeah,
Like-
which points come at a minimum in that, but I'm not making an excuse for it. I agree with you. What do you guys think? Adam, Auburn, Baylor.
Auburn, I mean, Jackson Arnold really impressed me. He looked a lot better than I thought. But like Bryce said, I think it was closer to what the score says, and I still think Baylor's going to be pretty good, a really good team in the Big 12.
I'd like to shout one thing out too.
Yeah.
I was at this game, and I'm there as a neutral observer. I didn't have any stake. I didn't care who won. I would have been happy either way. Auburn fans are some of the most toxic fans I have ever witnessed in my entire life. The stuff that they were doing was to these Baylor fans was crazy. These dogs. I don't know what to call them. They're dogs. They were going up into these Baylor fans' faces and they were screaming, like in a whole group of them, a group of Auburn kids in front of us were going up into these Baylor fans' faces and screaming at them as loud as they could, almost borderline spitting. It was something different. I've never witnessed a fan base, especially with no relation. Like, they have no relation to Baylor other than to just talk crap because they can. So I want to throw that out there. Auburn fans are a little bit different.
It's funny you
But
said
to
that
Tom's
because it's funny you said that because staying in the SEC, did we all see the clip with the LSU and Clemson fans Saturday night?
Yes, sir.
Of course.
Yeah, that's. What were you gonna say?
Is that
Bryce?
more of a testament? Is that more of a testament to the LSU fan or the Clemson fan? That dude, that Clemson fan lost full. He went.
I don't know. I kind of like it, but maybe not that much. When you're getting in someone's face, though, regardless of which side you're on, I'm not. I'm also even if someone gets in my face, I'm not putting them in a headlock though. But does anybody have anything else to say about this game?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
do.
Bryce.
It was my lock. You got to let me say something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct. It was your lock.
No.
Yep.
No, real quick. They had one running back had 16 for 80 something. One running back had 16 for 70. The quarterback had 16 for 180. Yeah, that's just a problem if you're allowing that many rushing yards. 173 yards after contact.
Wow.
For Auburn, which is really, really good. But I do want to say, Big 12 it's a wild conference. It doesn't take Baylor out of it. That conference is wide open. SEC opponent to open the season. Got to give them credit for playing that game.
Yep.
I do want to say with Auburn, they got two big time receivers, Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton Jr. expected
Yes, sir.
to, with Jackson Arnold, expected to make a bigger difference in this offense, but they did not get the ball. So I would like to see them try and get the ball to their playmakers a little more, but they figured out that Baylor wasn't going to stop the option roughing attack, read option, so they just kept doing it.
Speaking of receivers, I did want to highlight in this game, Baylor's wide receiver Michael Trigg was unstoppable. He was
He's a
there.
tight end.
Is he I thought he was a receiver. I'm sorry. But either way, he was their biggest receiving threat by far.
He's like a
I would like
tweener.
to-
Is he? He's an Evan Ingram type guy. I mean, watching this game, he was the answer every time for Baylor. Anytime they needed a play, he was literally the guy every time, making hard
there's one
catches,
thing I
getting
wanna add,
separation,
too.
and everything.
He's
Yeah.
6'4", 240.
Oh my
So,
gosh!
like-
I'm thinking tight end.
yeah, I'm with you
Like-
on that.
Like Adam was saying, I want to shout out Jackson Arnold for being a dog this game. Bro did exactly what he needed to do. He was on point with his running game. He didn't really make too many bad decisions passing, and when he did launch the ball, I mean, most of the time they were complete. He had a couple of deep balls that game that were very impressive. I think Jackson Arnold's going to take a very big step in the SEC this year.
Sounds good. We'll move on to the next game, which is our last game on here. Very quick on this one. Very quick. TCU versus UNC. Oh, I'm sorry, UNC. 48-14 final score. TCU spoils Bill Belichick's opener in college football. Me and Stiggs did pick TCU in this one, and I think Bryce did too. But besides that, anything quick to add on here? I just think that is it more about TCU or UNC? I just think UNC is going to be bad pretty much this year.
Nothing to say besides belt to ass. I mean, this wasn't even close. North Carolina couldn't get a stop at all.
The
They're
tweet.
running the ball over them, throwing it all over them. It didn't matter.
Yeah, the
Not
tweets
only
after
could they
the
not
first
get a
drive
stop.
were insane. Colin Cowherd, other people ready to say Bill Belichick's the second best coach in college
Yeah,
ever,
Bayless.
except the scripted
Yeah.
drive. I'm just like, bro.
They North Carolina has a turnover problem. They had 4 or 5 turnovers that game, and they were pretty much all their own fault. It was ridiculous the amount of turnovers they had that game. And if that's a Bill Belichick coach team, then college football is not for him.
Yeah, Stiggs, anything quickly?
Yeah, I just want to shout out my boy Kavorian Barnes. That's a UTSA transfer.
Yeah.
He had a couple really good years for UTSA. I think it was 800 yards one year, 700 yards. Got injured last year. Made the move. It's a pretty bold move for him to transfer, coming off an injury.
Yeah.
Especially to a bigger program. But he had a big touchdown run, 75 yards, I believe it was, and just looked really good throughout the night. So shout out to him.
Yeah, and I want to point out, you said in the last one that you did believe in the Hypnotoads. Hoover was slinging that thing, Stiggs.
Dude, you know I'm a Hypnotoad believer, and yeah, like I
Sure.
said, I like Hoover. I like the style of football they play. And the only thing about Hoover I will say, I don't know if you guys noticed this, he's kind of like who's the quarterback, the backup that the Cowboys traded for? Yeah, I'm blanking.
Trey Lance?
No, the Cowboys traded for got the rocket arm from the Patriots. Milton.
Oh, Joe
Milton.
Milton.
Oh, Joe Milton, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they had
Dude
Lance.
does
I'm
not. Hoover does not know how to throw a changeup, bro. He throws
Yeah.
100 miles an hour every throw.
sorry. Yeah, he can't layer the ball at all, but it will be a missile, though, every time.
I have one more thing,
Yeah.
just real quick. The Gio Lopez hype was maybe a little bit too much. He stunk it up in this game. Then they finally took him out and put in Max Johnson. That's when North Carolina showed a little bit more life on offense. But yeah, Gio Lopez looked really bad.
Yeah, we'll move off the games. So here's the next thing we want to talk about that's all on one slide here. I want to ask you guys, are you hitting the panic button on these teams? We kind of talked about a couple of them, so we'll go over them briefly. Here's the teams that we picked out, and I'm going to save one for last. Texas, were we all in agreement that we're not hitting the panic button on Texas?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, move on from that. Notre Dame, we're not hitting the panic button on Notre Dame.
Absolutely not.
No.
No. Clemson, are we all not hitting the panic button on Clemson?
I'm
No.
not.
Nope.
Okay, that leaves us with three here. Baylor, are we hitting the panic button on Baylor after that game?
Nope.
No.
No.
No? Okay. Before we get to Alabama, this team I kind of wanted to throw in here a little bit. Panic button on Kansas State, and there's a reason for this. They lose a close week
Absolutely.
one.
Yes.
Their week two game was insanely bad. I think I'm hitting yes. I dropped them out of my rankings.
Let me take this one real quick
Yes,
because
sir.
you all three say yes. I'm gonna say no.
Not so
I-
fast, my friend, he said.
Shout out Lee Corso on his last week too, man.
Yeah.
Getting his pick right and calling
All six
the
games.
Florida State upset.
All
Yeah,
six
just
games he
like
got right. That's crazy.
absolute legend stuff from the man. But I could definitely see why all you guys are panicking, and it's valid for you to panic because yeah, I'm worried too. But at the end of the day, I believe in Avery Johnson. I've actually kind of wanted him at Oregon. This was kind of Dante Moore, Bo Nix cycle, so we ended up good. But I did want him at Oregon. He's a playmaker. If he can just figure it out, man, he can play. And I'm not going to hit the panic button just yet because they do have a really solid defense and a good run game with him. But I'd like to see him get some more design touches. I think that would help him out a lot, kind of a la Jackson Arnold.
Gotcha. Okay, I respect that 100%. I'm glad that we aren't all in unison on all of them here. How about Alabama?
Yes.
Yes.
I was going back and forth on this one.
I'm saying no, but way less confident than I did any of these other teams. Like
Yeah.
I'm more worried about Alabama than I am Kansas State because again, I didn't mention it in the Kansas State. It's the Big 12. They only lost one conference game. The champion in that league will lose a conference game. I can almost guarantee you that.
Think for Alabama that's making me hesitant is they are just one of the top 3-4 most talented teams in the country. So, but the thing is, if the effort isn't there, you know what? I'm going to say yes for me. I'm going to say no, yes. And I was really going back and forth on it, but I'm going to go yes just because for Alabama, like, think about it. We're talking about the best program ever, in my opinion, and what we're coming off of. This is so uncharacteristic from them. So uncharacteristic. And you said no, but a lot less confident, Stiggs. You got Brace and Adam. You guys both said yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm panicking if I'm Alabama. I look at their schedule, their future schedule moving forward. They play Wisconsin in a couple of weeks.
They'll beat
Go
them, I'm
to
sure.
Georgia. They play Vandy. Does Vandy not come back? Did they not repeat? Did they not go back to back?
Ooh, I didn't realize it
Looking-
was that soon.
Yeah, and
It
also the
is.
thing about the Vandy game, Vandy Barstool posted a thing earlier, which, whatever, but we are now in a days where they made a graphic of teams that they will easy win, should win, could win, more than likely loss. And we are now in the days of Vandy posting graphics saying that Alabama is a should-win team in the category.
I want to keep in mind too that after Alabama played Georgia last year, they played Vandy and they lost. This year they go to Georgia and then they play Vandy the following week. That's not even the brunt of their schedule though. They go on a stretch of back-to-back weeks playing against TCU, South Carolina, LSU, and OU. And I personally think they'll go 1-3 in that stretch.
Yeah,
That's
something's gonna have to
that's not
change.
including the Auburn game at the end of the year. There's a good chance Alabama is 7-5 this year, if not 6-6.
One potential factor: Ryan Williams did delete his Twitch channel, so he could
Oh,
be
I
a
didn't
little
know
bit
that.
more focused.
I saw words about him having a concussion.
Yeah, he went out.
Yeah, I did notice he went out, but that he wasn't playing defense either. Simpson looked rushed, I thought. They got punched in the mouth, realistically. They did. I mean, there's no other way
Let me
to put
ask
it.
you too.
The other
Let me
teams
ask you.
lost. They got beat down in all facets of the game.
Do you guys think Florida State is even close to the talent level that Alabama has?
No. They're not.
Okay. What about, do you think Florida State's talent level compares to Georgia, Tennessee,
Not-
South Carolina, LSU?
Well, I'd put Georgia a notch ahead those other guys you guys said, but I think
Yeah,
Georgia's going to win the SEC this year. I think they look really good, but Florida State even I'm not even sure they're on those levels, and those aren't like the top talent teams in the country either.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think if Alabama struggled that bad with Florida State, I think they're really gonna struggle with teams like Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, even Auburn this year. Auburn, based on week 1 alone, Auburn looked like a better team, a way better team than Alabama. So this
Auburn has a mobile
schedule,
quarterback.
Yep.
They're going to be a threat to Bama.
Wait, I was gonna say, Stiggs. We spoke about it last week. What was the common thing in all Alabama's losses that we didn't think could come back to hurt them again this year? The mobile quarterbacks and Castellanos killed them on the ground. Killed them on the ground.
Y'all don't forget that UCF game last year.
Yeah.
It was close until the fourth quarter.
Yep. So we're going to play another game here. Not really like a trivia game. This one's called Buy or Sell. So there's going to be, this is basically week 1 overreactions. Are you going to buy it or are you going to sell it? I might give you guys a take, and you tell me if you're buying into it or you're selling it and you don't believe in it. Sound good?
all right.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to say it. Give me 1 second to say it. Sorry, give me 1 moment. I got it here. Okay. Buy or sell. Iowa State is winning the Big 12 this year. Adam?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, these are all going to be tough.
Honestly, I'm going to say buy, just because I think they're going to be one of those top 2 teams in that conference. They've looked amazing so far, in my opinion, and I think it's going to come down to them or Texas Tech. So I'll go ahead and buy that one.
Stiggs?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm buying. I'll buy it too. I'm not afraid of it, and I got to shout out my boy Rocco Beck. I'm kind of Rocco Beck stand over here.
Yeah.
I feel like he's getting a little undershadowed, undervalued for his NFL capabilities, which I do think he has some. He's been a 50-60% completion percentage guy his whole career. Also had a 50% or so game against Kansas State, but made the throws necessary. Went 19 for 20 last week, just lights out. So shout out to him.
Bryce?
I'm going to sell on the stock right now, simply because I think the Big 12 is so wide open. I also, after seeing TCU play, I think TCU is going to be a threat to anybody in the Big 12. I did not realize how good TCU was going to be this year, and they looked fantastic against North Carolina. So not only do I think TCU will have a chance to win the Big 12, I just think the Big 12 is too wide open to buy on any individual team. But if I had to compare between Iowa State right now and TCU, I would take TCU. So I would sell on Iowa State.
Okay. Now, these are supposed to be kind of head scratchers. They're supposed to make you think here. Now, I want you guys to think about last year on this one for a second, okay? Buy or sell. Tennessee will be better this year than last year. Sticks.
I'm glad you let me go first. I'm hammering the buy. Hammering the buy. They have a lot of production returning on defense. Really good defensive line. They also have a two-headed tandem at cornerback. Boo Carter, supposedly, already getting high NFL praise. Interested to see how he develops because he was kind of thrown into the fire. Um, and also Nico. I'm not sold on Nico, and his first game kind of proved it. He was kind of all over the place. I think Joey Aguilar, even though he might be, not the tools as Nico, he will let it rip. And yeah, he did miss some throws, but TCU, their offense, they run the ball a lot, but they scheme up big plays, and Joey will try and take those big plays, and I think they'll be I think they're a legit college football playoff team again. Even though their schedule, they
Yep.
might not make it, but I still think they can be a better team if that makes sense.
It's funny enough because that was going to be my question right after that. I was like, do you think they'll go farther than they did last year? But that you answered it perfectly. Adam, Tennessee, are they going to be better this year than last year after watching Week 1?
Honestly, I'll buy it too. I was kind of expecting a drop off with Aguilar, to be 100% honest, and that did not show at all against Syracuse on Saturday. And plus, like Stig said, Nico was not very good in his first start really either. So they could have honestly upgraded that quarterback. We thought all along maybe not, but even if they don't go as far, I think they're still a better team.
Heard. Bryce?
I'm going to buy on it. I thought Tennessee looked fantastic in Week 1. At least they did play Syracuse, and Syracuse is no slouch, but I think overall Tennessee is going to have the rest of the year to get better week by week. And like y'all said, I think Joey Aguilar he's on par, if not better than Nico so far. So I'll definitely buy on that stock.
You guys are going to hate me for this. I'm going to be the only one that's going to sell on that. And it's not as much as Tennessee. My thought process behind it before we kind of started talking on it is I just don't think Tennessee will go as far as they did because of their schedule. But that doesn't mean I guess they're a better or worse team is why I had what it was. I also think Syracuse is pretty bad. So, like, that was kind of why I thought that. Please, no one burn me at the stake at dawn for that one. Okay. I want to start out this one here with you, Stiggs. Luke Fickell won't finish out the season at Wisconsin. Buy or sell?
I think I can get behind the buy. I'm worried about them. They did not look too good, and kind of, Luke Fickell's a ground and pound guy, and he went off the grid in attempting to hire a coordinator that kind of was anti his style. They kind of went air raid. I don't know if necessarily it's tough because I don't think they have that tough of a schedule.
Oh yeah, they do. I was about to read it to you here. I'm gonna just read these to you, okay, real quick. They go through a stretch.
Okay.
Here's the rest of their schedule. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off here, Stiggs. They go to
No,
Bama.
you're good.
This is all in a row after October 4th, okay?
You don't have to say anymore. They're cooked.
at,
I didn't realize they played Bama out of schedule.
Yeah, in Alabama as well. But then they go, this is all in a row. At Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, at Oregon, Washington, Wisconsin, Illinois, and finish the year at Minnesota.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I'm gonna buy that this will be his last season, or he won't finish the season.
Adam?
Well, I'm a biased guy. I'm going to go with buy. Like you said, that schedule is too tough, and they couldn't even put away Miami, Ohio, which I know Miami's they're a pretty decent team, MAC team, but Wisconsin's that program where you should not be in a titanic struggle with a team like that.
Yep.
And it's been a constant, like Stig said, they were trying to do air raid, which that's not Luke Fickell style at all. And I think he's in way over his head, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna go buy.
Yeah, I also think so. It doesn't fit the team vest mentality, the T.E.A.M vest mentality. Bryce,
I'm going to sell. I think Wisconsin may have a pretty decent year this year,
whoa,
even
okay.
with the schedule. Uh, People are talking about not putting Miami, Ohio away, and it's true. It was a low-scoring game, but they also shut them out. You can't say that about any other team or a lot of other teams in the country, to be honest. I mean, even Marshall scored on Georgia, so there's a lot of teams in the country. Nevada had 11 against Penn State, and sure, you can't put too much stock into that, but they also took care of business. I mean, they didn't really let Miami, Ohio drive down the field too much. I've seen highlights of that game actually, and they looked pretty good, defensively at least. So they go to Alabama in a couple of weeks, and I think that'll be their first true test of the season. Again, I think there's a chance they might even win that game. I'm a little bit different on y'all. I think I'm a little bit higher on Wisconsin than y'all seem to be, but I think he'll still be here after this year.
the funny thing is for me when I was thinking about buying or selling this is Wisconsin just extended him. So it's like that buys into it, but I think the schedule's too tough. This isn't the old Wisconsin who was actually a top premier program, towards the top upper echelon of college football. I'm going to buy it as well currently because I just think that their standards have to be higher than what currently the product. Okay, I got two left here. What do we think about this, Adam? Kalen DeBoer is already on the hot seat at Alabama.
I'm gonna buy that. I thought he was on the hot seat. Honestly, starting last year, when they kind of fell off the cliff there, I just think like we're just kind of talking about Wisconsin. Alabama is probably, if it's not Ohio State, it's Alabama for the most premier program in the sport. And they're not going to accept 9-win seasons. Even though it's good for probably 98% of the country, that's not good enough at Alabama. You're supposed to contend for a national championship literally every year. And plus, with all the chemistry issues, it seems like I just don't think the board's really fit for that. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, and it's the fashion that they lost too, Adam, that makes me think about it like that. What do you think, Stiggs?
Yeah, I have to agree. I was always, I like DeBoer, and I think he is a good coach. I am a little biased because he coached at UW, but in that same sentiment, he did kind of have to have a perfect storm of players staying, their fifth year. He had Penix transfer in. He had a lot of stuff go his way. And I'm not trying to say Penix carried him to the CFP or anything, but he kind of had his perfect storm at the perfect time when the job came open. So, yeah, I'm definitely a little worried. I do want to see how they respond, though.
Me too. That's what I was pretty interested in. It did help Penix also had a first-round receiver on his team for that as well.
I think he had Jalen McMillan, Roma Dunze.
Oh, yeah, he had a stacked room.
Nasty.
Yeah, definitely. Fakes, are you buying or selling that DeBoer's already on the hot seat?
I'm buying into that. Let me ask you guys, if y'all remember Nick Saban's first season, they lost to Louisiana Monroe.
Yep.
This weekend, Alabama plays Louisiana Monroe. And if they were to lose this game, I think he gets fired that night. I don't think he makes it the rest of the season. Not to mention them playing Wisconsin the following week, which, again, I think that's going to be a tricky game for him. I think if they lose any of their non-conference games, there's a chance he gets fired before we even see October. So they have a pretty little sneaky tough schedule in the next couple of weeks. They're already 0-1. They have to go 2-0 before they go play at Georgia. So there's a chance they are 2-2 going into week 5. And that's not going to be looking good for Alabama. There's a chance he's gone by week 5.
All right, the last buy or sell we got. Based off of week 1, Miami is now the favorite to win the ACC because Clemson lost. What do we think here? I'm going to sell that. I still think Clemson's the best team in the ACC personally. I'm not going to hang it over on one loss, but it kind of makes you think a little bit, right? Miami just comes off a win against Notre Dame. Defense looks a lot better. Clemson coming off a loss. But the thing about both of these games and Florida State coming up beating Bama, however you want to see that. But the thing is, these games weren't conference games. So, I don't know. What do you think? I'll start with you again, Stiggs. What are you buying or selling that Miami's now the favorite to win the ACC?
I would sell as the favorite, but they're definitely making it a little more murky just because I think everybody's kind of consensus was Clemson, teardrop everyone else and fight for it. Maybe SMU in that second tier, but I think they just made it more murky. But getting to the ACC championship did get a playoff team in last year. Doesn't mean you have to win it.
Correct.
So maybe if they, have a really good record and, lose to Clemson in the ACC championship, then I could still see them getting in the playoffs. So, it doesn't really matter if they're the favorite to win the conference. I think there's still a path for them to make the playoff.
I agree with you there. Adam?
I agree with both of you guys. I'm going to sell. I still think Clemson's the best team in that conference. And like Stig said, there's still a path for them to make the playoffs even without winning the ACC. Yeah, I'm going to sell.
All right, Bryce?
I'll buy into it. I think Carson Beck proved a lot against Notre Dame. And I think he might be the best quarterback in the conference, competing with Tommy Castellanos. So
Cade's out of there, huh? Cade Klubnik.
Oh yeah, I think Cade's taken a major step back. At least in I don't think he's as a player. I just think as far as quarterback goes in the conference, I think there are two better quarterbacks in the conference than Cade. So I'll buy into it. I think them as it stands right now being a favorite is valid. I don't see anything wrong with that.
All right. Well, thank you guys for participating in those. They were supposed to be a little tough. Hopefully it was fun. Now we got to get our players of the week here. So I want to go ahead and go with that. Each one of us give a player of the week. I think, Bryce, me and you can say ours at the same time. We had the same guy. We don't have to stay super long on this because after we go, I want Stiggs to go ahead and give us his go to the group and get his group of 4 players. So players of the week for me. Bryce, you want to go ahead and say ours that we came to the same person here?
Big boy Tommy Castellanos.
Yes, sir.
I don't think there was another player better than him this week. He said what he said, and he backed it up, so I respect it.
Adam? Adam?
I'm going to go with a bias pick, but I'm going to go with Jake Allday. He was rewarded the Big 12 Player of the Week, and I just think he was swarming through the ball with like multiple other UC defensive players that could have honestly got my pick as well. I'll shout out Jaquan Sinks and the Godfather, Dante Corleone, who I also considered, but I'm going to go with Jake Allday.
All right. I thought you were going to say Sorsby when you started saying something about being biased.
Worst player of the week.
Yeah, he wasn't, no. All right, now, Stiggs, I want to hear your players of the week. Who you got? I know you have a few standouts, and then I just want to hear your go to the group as well. This is your time to take us away here, Stiggs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just because you led me off, I do got to shout out Michigan running back Justice Haynes.
Unfortunately,
165. Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry, had to do it to you.
No,
yeah,
you look great.
Yeah, 165 on 3 touchdowns. Looked really great. And if Michigan's going to be good, I know they have Bryce Underwood, and he looked really good. But they're going to need to run the ball. That's going to help. What helps your young quarterback? A good run game. And they also had a good standout performance from their tight end. I also wanted to shout out Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, Arizona State. He went for 12, 141, 2 touchdowns. Definitely the wide receiver alpha of this year. And like you said, I appreciate you letting me shout out a couple group of 4 or G4 players, just because I like the group of 4. It's fun to see some of these guys, especially when they transfer and make names for themselves. Devin Dampier had a big week this week.
Yes, he did.
I want to shout out Maverick McIver, quarterback out of Western Kentucky. Since we didn't do one last week, I'll just give you his stats through 2 games. 57 for 82. It's a 70% completion percentage. 706 passing yards, 9 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's big time.
That'll
big
do
time.
it.
Western Kentucky has a low-key good offense. They're always at the top of their conference. And sneak preview, I may have them upsetting their opponent this week.
Oh,
And on the defensive side of the ball, I want to shout out defensive back from Tulane, Jaheim Johnson. He's 2026 draft eligible. He's a cornerback. On 10 targets, he had 4 catches allowed for 29 yards, 4 pass breakups, and he had a pick. He's all over the place. He's draft eligible, so I would definitely probably see him declare for the draft if he gets, a day 2 grade or something like that.
yeah, I agree with you. If I was thinking of a bias pick here, I didn't want to just pick one of my own guys, but if I did, I thought the standout player for Ohio State by far for me besides Caleb Downs, who's kind of been that guy all the time, Arvell Reese is going to make a name for himself this year. I was familiar with him last year. He's the guy who got that targeting in the Nebraska game, and then it got reversed after the game to where he wasn't suspended. That dude is a dog. He put on a lot of weight. He's playing linebacker next to Sonny Styles. He wears number 8, if you guys are familiar. I think Stiggs, I know we were talking about him. He's the one who did that coffee house stunt. He was all over the place on Saturday, and for his first actual start, he balled out. So, going from that, it's time, fellas. We got to start looking to the next week. What about the upset of the week? So, I'll go first on this. I think we talked about it a little bit in the pre-show a little bit. But the one I was feeling most confident on, I got UNLV with an upset this week. The games this week, looking up and down them, that I didn't feel as confident in any other ones besides the UNLV one. So, yeah, I got UNLV at home. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, they're at home taking on UCLA. UNLV looked pretty rough in their first game. Not great. They didn't cover that 28-point spread, whatever. But then they went and won at Sam Houston. We have to remember, in the Mountain West Conference, UNLV might be the most talented team there, and UCLA just got belt. I'll put it that way. UNLV has a ton of transfers from big-name schools. I'm sure, Stiggs, you're on top of that. You already know. That's where, like, Alex Orgy and those guys went. It's only a 2.5-point spread, so that's where I'm taking UNLV outright. They're at home, get plus 2.5, but that's my upset pick of the week. Stiggs, you want to go next?
Yeah. My upset pick of the week. I kind of alluded to it. I wasn't sure if I was going to double down, but yeah, I think I'm gonna pick WKU. They are playing Toledo. Toledo, even though they lost, very scrappy game against UK. I know we kind of talked about this before our last show. Toledo's got a good roster for the G4. But I think Western Kentucky, man, like I said, Maverick McIver, he's a dog. And the Hilltoppers, great social media team.
They do.
I personally, they're my favorite team in the G4. Like, I'm about to get some Western Kentucky merch. I'm not even kidding. They're great. And I'm fully buying in. I think they're going to win here, and I think they're going to I don't know if they have a strong enough schedule to contend for the playoff, but I think they're going to be the favorite in their conference for Conference USA.
Their graphic department is unreal. And then they had the helmets and everything.
I'm sure you see me share it every week. I'm always just like, give these guys a raise, man.
And they were the ones who started that mascot for different positions on the helmet. That was legendary. Adam, what's your upset pick of the week? Are you feeling
sorry,
crazy?
by the way,
Yeah, go ahead.
WKU is plus 7.5. I'm taking them to win. I'm taking money line. They're winning.
Yeah, I like that. Are you feeling Louisiana Monroe plus 36.5 against Bama, Adam? You got to take them to win outright?
Yeah, no, so my upset pick last week was absolutely terrible. So we're going to try something different here. Well, this is probably one of the more popular ones, but I'm going to go with Duke over Illinois. Like I've said to you, Paul, I'm not really too high on Illinois. I get they brought back Luke Altmaier and that, all that, but Duke, Darian Mensah's a problem.
I think Manny Diaz,
it's at
too.
Duke. I think they're going to pull it off against Illinois.
Yeah, I like Manny Diaz a lot at Duke, and Duke's been on the upward trend. We talked about them last year. I think this is going to be the most telling game of Illinois uh, going forward until they have another big game. I'm not sure how everybody else feels about it. And that spread, I do want to just point out, that is currently Illinois -3 on the road as it sits right now, according to CBS Sports. So you're taking Duke outright at home. That should be a great game for the noon slot. I'm interested to see that. If Illinois comes out and balls out, I'll feel pretty confident in them headed forward. Bryce, your upset pick of the week? Are you taking Grambling?
I'm taking Mississippi State over Arizona State. Not only do I think Arizona State's incredibly overrated right now, Blake Shapen's going into his 6th year, his super senior season, and I think he's poised for a breakout year this year. Based on just talent alone, I think talent-wise, Mississippi State and Arizona State's very similar, and Arizona State lost their workhorse last year in Cam Scatabo, so I don't think Arizona State is going to be nearly as good as what people are hyping them up to be. I think this is a pretty easy pick in my opinion, but I'll take Mississippi State. They're at +6.5, and I think they're going to outright just win the game, so I'm taking them.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Real quick, Paul.
Yeah.
I had to shout out on that pick, Mississippi State. I really like the pick because they have one of my favorite transfers from South Alabama, Fluff Bothwell. First of all, first team all name, Fluff Bothwell.
Definitely.
5'10", 230 running back. He's a bruiser. Only got 10 touches, 43 yards, and a couple touchdowns last week. Hoping to see him get some more carries. I think if they win, they're going to need to run the ball.
Sounds good. Thanks for the insight there. Stiggs is the ultimate ball knower. So we'll go next. What about our locks of the week? Bryce, you want to start us off here? What's your lock?
My lock of the week is Oklahoma State plus 29.5. Last I checked, it was at 29.5.
I love it.
It's a lock. They're not getting beat by 29.5 points. I hate to say it. I think this will be maybe a fourth quarter game. I think it'll be within 10 points going in the fourth quarter, give or take. So I'm taking Oklahoma State for my lock of the week.
Alrighty then. Adam, what's your lock of the week?
I'm kind of going back and forth on this right now. Let's see. Oh, fuck. Let's go with the bold one. I'm going James Madison plus 13.5 against Louisville.
Alrighty. Why are you feeling that? You think Louisville's a little overrated?
A little bit. I mean, they're really good, but Lonzo Barnett, the quarterback for James Madison, he's a stud. I think James Madison, as a team, I think that can keep up with Louisville.
All right. I'll make mine pretty quick here. You guys might disagree with me, especially after how we were just talking before. Give me Baylor plus 2.5 on the road at SMU after the games. Which this sounds more bold, but I think Baylor's better. We talked about how much SMU lost. They were kind of a dark horse for me, but they still have Kevin Jennings. But I think Baylor's the better team. They're going to bounce back, I think. I mean, SMU, it's going to be their first actual game of the year. They started out with East Texas A&M. Anybody ever heard of them? East Texas A&M. Give me Baylor plus 2.5 with the 3-point home team spread. That just tells me that they think Baylor's actually the better team. So I'm going to pick Baylor plus 2.5. What are you feeling, Stiggs?
I want to preface this with saying I'm picking my lock just to be different. I am that confident that Western Kentucky's beating Toledo. You can book that as a lock if you want it, but I got another one just because I want to, throw an actual different lock out there. I'm going to double down on what we spoke about earlier. You asked if I was buying the Iowa State stock. I'm buying it. They're playing their rivals, Iowa.
Yep.
Big rivalry game. Spread right now, what I'm looking at, 3.5.
Yeah.
Lock it in. Iowa State's gonna win that game.
You got them covering? I got 3 on CBS right now, but either way. So you got them covering 3.5. Okay.
Good teams win. Great teams cover.
That is exactly true.
That was my other lock I was considering.
This slide is a little out of order. I'm sorry. This was Stiggs Goats right here. Goats of the group before was supposed to be on here, but we already went over it earlier. Sorry, Sketchy. I didn't realize this slide was on here a little bit later. That's on me. All right. as we look at the Pick'em rankings right now, I'm in last. I'm not gonna lie. I struggled on the smaller teams this week. I did pretty good on the higher team. Shout out to Chaos MCK. Mick is leading our Pick'em right now. Big Stig sitting at 6-4. Bryce the Best is sitting at 7-3. Jonah, we all got to shout out Jonah, right? He's all on there. Adam, I'm right there with you towards the bottom. There's a 4-way tie on there at 7th place. I had a bad week for the middle of pack teams. I did pretty good on the top teams and then pretty bad on the. Adam convinced me to take Hawaii. I'm not sure why. We fell for that. It beat Stanford. I guess that's he did that to me, but that's our current pick'em rankings. We're going to get on to the next one here. So here's our top 25s all across the board. We're pretty similar. Compared to last week, I moved up a lot of teams, and I moved down a lot of teams. Do you guys see anything, big discrepancies that stick out or anything that you wanted to mention? I had LSU a little bit lower. That's the only reason I have them behind Penn State. I think that it's not going to be a problem for them to pass them if it comes down to it. What are you guys thinking? Is there any big discrepancies?
See you're still lower on Florida than the rest of us are.
Yeah, I mean, they played Long Island, so I wasn't really putting too much stock into that. Surprisingly, you guys wouldn't have guessed this. DJ Lagway had one of the lowest QBRs in the country this weekend, which doesn't matter because they blew them out, but just putting that completely out there. Yeah, I'm not, it's not that I'm a hater on Florida. I'm just waiting for the results before I rank them as high as everyone else.
I noticed you had South Carolina at 14.
I do.
But you had teams like SMU, Iowa State, Florida State, all above them.
Yeah, I didn't think they looked that great, to be honest. I mean, they were in a rock fight for over 3 quarters. In my defense, though, all those teams that are right there, I moved them up 1 slot, including South Carolina. Even with how I thought they looked this past weekend, to supposed to be, a pretty big contender from what I've been hearing all offseason. I didn't think they really looked that great. I mean, Virginia Tech was very much in that game for a long time, and South Carolina was at home. But I still did move them up. We're still early, so I'm kind of trying to feel my way around the rankings still. But the same reason why I have Florida and Oklahoma where they're at is the same reason I have South Carolina where they're at. I need to see the results on the field before I start ranking them super high.
I did want to point out something real quick.
Yep.
I also had the benefit of, this was really my first week doing the rankings because I didn't know if I was going to be on every week. So I had the benefit. I just feel like I might need to clear the air here. I'm the only one who doesn't have SMU ranked.
That is true.
I'm just not a believer. I know they have a really good quarterback. I do kind of think they caught lightning in a bottle last year, and they peaked is what I think. So I personally don't have them ranked. I know that's on their merits last year. That's pretty much there's only been a week of real football played, so they do deserve to be ranked. I really not trying to slide them, but I just don't have them ranked. I had to get Georgia Tech. I had to get BYU in there. With how they looked, and I noticed none of you guys have either of those teams unless I'm missing.
I wanted to point something out on yours here real quick, and it's completely your ranking sticks. I was just going to ask you, where College Game Day is going this week, you got neither one of those teams in your rankings. Oklahoma or Michigan are both not in your rankings.
Yeah, I know, kind of bold, but I mean, I just not sold on either yet. And I know it kind of contradicts what I just said, but from what Oklahoma and co did last year, I didn't see enough improvements in the portal, specifically trenches on the offensive side, to justify ranking them just yet. Now, if they beat Michigan, and same thing with Michigan, whoever wins this game primes themselves to make the playoff.
I agree. I got Oklahoma in at 24. We don't really have to go over our rankings as much. I just like to have them on the screen, kind of see where we're at. See if there's any big discrepancies to go over that. A lot of us are around the same for those. Those were just kind of the two I wanted to mention. We'll go ahead and go along with the next one. I think you're the only one with BYU, like you were saying, and Georgia Tech. They're right on my just missed, so There is that. Oh, the slide isn't here. Let's do a week 2
Glad to know
preview.
I'm not crazy.
No, definitely not. I got 6 games highlighted here. We don't need to talk about Grambling and Ohio State unless you guys really wanted to, or UC Bowling Green. But we'll save your guys' game for last. We'll talk about the other games first. That kind of stuck out. We hinted on it earlier. Illinois at Duke. So Illinois is currently a 3-point favorite. You want to start us out here, Adam? You already picked this game and you picked Duke, so I think you're pretty set, brother. I think we want to hear anything. What are your guys' picks on this, Bryce and Stiggs? We got Duke +3 at home. This is a noon kickoff. 49.5 is the over/under.
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna. Oh, go ahead, Fakes.
No, I was just going to say, I like Illinois in this game. You did say Duke, Illinois, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I like Illinois in this game a lot. I was not much of a believer in Illinois last year. I'm a believer in Illinois this year. Unlike Adam, I know he said he wasn't too big on him. I'm much bigger on Illinois this year than I think I've ever been.
I was gonna ask though.
So.
I was gonna ask. I'm like, the funny thing is when I was pulling up your rankings, I thought that you were not a believer because you have them at like 23.
I have them
23.
low, but the fact that they're in my rankings to begin with is pretty impressive. I don't think I've ever really ranked Illinois before. So I think that they kind of deserve to be there. I think they're a top 25 team right now, and I think they might be better than what they were last year. So I'm going to take Illinois this game.
I think so too. I'm going to take Illinois as well. This is when I could go on a whole tangent about this for hours and hours. This is where I think the mainstream SEC bias kind of kicks people in the teeth here because Illinois last year is no different than South Carolina last year. They lost the teams they should have lost and won a lot of games that they beat them. And ironically enough, they played each other without opt-outs, and Illinois won. But that's at least the AP poll is consistent with it. I'm not going to harp too much on that. I think Illinois is pretty good. I think this game's very telling, though, because I'm pretty high on Duke. Stiggs, how are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, hate to go with the consensus. Just Big 12 bias here, or I'm sorry, Big 10 bias here. But I'm gonna stick with Illinois. I'm always been a firm believer that just because you return a bunch of people doesn't mean that you'll automatically improve. But I do think there'll be improvements from Duke just because simply I like their coach, Brett Bielema. He's always just been a solid coach. Seems like a good dude. I will say Duke has a good quarterback there in Mensa. Can't forget he was a big pull out of the portal for them. But I think Luke Altmaier will get it done. I know it's being on the road kind of made me want to sway Duke here, but I'm gonna let Adam be on his own here.
Yep, Adam, you are on your own here, but I don't think any one of us are confident that Illinois is going to go in there and like blow them out or anything. I think it'll be tight.
No, not at all.
Okay, next one.
Say,
What'd you say?
well, I want to say I could see a game where Illinois win this game by 2 or 3 scores.
Okay.
I think this could very well be a blowout. We'll see. I could be completely wrong, but I have a feeling about Illinois this year that, again, I haven't really felt this strongly about a team before, so I think they may shock some people this year. I would not be surprised if they blew out Duke in this game.
Completely understood. Next game, okay, so this game's on here just because it was an upset last year. Ole Miss goes to Kentucky. Do we think that Kentucky gets 2 in a row done? They're coming off a win against Toledo. Ole Miss on the road. This is a 3:30 kick on ABC. We got -10 for Ole Miss on the road. Over under 50.5. What are you guys thinking about this?
I got UK not upsetting Ole Miss.
Not upsetting. Yeah.
No,
He made this good.
He made it interesting.
I
Yeah.
know. No, I think they'll be able to get it done. They got too much, talent discrepancy. I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to discredit Toledo because I think they're one of the better G4 teams. But regardless of being a good G4 team, if you play a team in the SEC, the SEC team should eventually have their way and make it more comfortable than they did.
Yeah, I agree. Also, it's more telling about UK in this game than Ole Miss for me. I got Ole Miss covering as well. What do you guys have, Adam?
I have Ole Miss beating Kentucky pretty confident. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be a repeat of last year.
I
Real
agree
quickly.
with Adam.
Yeah.
I just want to say this kind of reminds me of Fake's lock last week, the South Carolina versus Virginia Tech. The line was only like 7.5.
Yeah.
This seems low. Does
It
Vegas
does.
know something that we don't? This seems low.
It does. 10 points is low. I'm also not sold completely on Ole Miss yet, but like it's more about Kentucky to me, right? Like it does. It definitely does seem low. Kentucky won on the road last year, but I don't know. It does seem low. They might know something that we don't. I would have expected the UK at home to. Well, I guess they're getting 3 and it's still 10, but I would have expected Ole Miss at least 14.5 here. I was thinking around there. This game, the next game, I just want to not talk about really much at all. I just want to point out kind of an interesting game I was thinking about going for my upset pick of the week to cover. I didn't feel confident enough to pick them in the game. Rutgers at home is 14.5 over Miami, Ohio. Rutgers looked horrible last week. They only won by 3 against the Bobcats of Ohio. I just wanted to point that game out for a second. It is at Rutgers and everything, and it's 14.5, but I wouldn't be too surprised if Miami, Ohio covers in that game. We'll go ahead and move on from it. Now we got 2 rivalry games here on the slate. Iowa and Iowa State. We got Iowa State, a 3-point favorite at home. Yeah, this is the Cyhawk. And this game's always a good game, I feel like. It always comes down to the wire. Last year it came down to a field goal. I was supposed to have a pulse on offense with the quarterback. They lost Caleb Johnson here. I mean, if Iowa State starts 3-0 with a win in this game, this could really give them a lot of momentum. And Stiggs, I'll let you kind of finish up what you were saying because you did pick Iowa State earlier to cover.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm pretty confident in this one, simply for the fact that Iowa State was predicated on their wide receivers last year. They're going a little different approach this year. They're using a lot of 2 tight end sets, and they have 2 good tight ends, Gabe Burkle, Benjamin Brahmer. And then they also have a 2-headed rushing attack in Abu Sama, who's more of like, your pass catcher receiving back. And then they got the big boy Carson Hansen. Big dog, big power back, kind of manhandled Kansas State late and helping edge out that game. But I'm just simply picking for Rocco. It's his year. I'm very high on him. I think he's going to get this one done.
Yeah, that's such a big win for Iowa State to start the year. If they're able to take Kansas State in Dublin and then they come home and win their rivalry game, I mean, that would just be a huge push for them. What are we thinking here, Bryce?
As much as I hate to say it, I think Iowa may steal one here from Iowa State. If Iowa can get an offense going, they could be completely different than Iowa we've seen. And this is a rivalry game. Rivalry games are always different. This is not a normal run-in-the-mill game, just a random game in the week. These teams hate each other with a passion. The entire state rallies around this game. I can understand. I can relate to a game like this. This is not going to be a typical game. I don't think it'll be a blowout by any means. And I think it'll be extremely close. That may come even down to, like, the end of the game, like a last-second field goal. But I feel like Iowa is going to get their get back from last year and get their revenge. They have lost 2 of the last 3 to Iowa State. And I think they'll go ahead and maybe steal one here.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight game, realistically. Spread opened up at 1.5. We're sitting at 3. Public bet right now, currently, how about you guys think about this? Money line 88% on Iowa State currently. Adam?
That's another reason. That's scary.
Yeah, that worries me a little bit more now, but I'm not backing down.
Adam, what are you thinking?
Yeah, give me the Cyclones. That's all I gotta say.
He's taking the Big 12 over the Big 10 every time. Well, I knew that. I'm just kidding. That's always a fun game to watch. It's usually tight. Next game, we got the return. We got Kansas at Missouri here. Missouri at home, -6.5, over under 50.5. Stig, do you want to start us out here? You feeling the Jayhawks? Is it finally 18th year senior Jalen Daniels? Is he going to get it done and go into Mizzou and make Cole go home crying, or are the Tigers going to shut down the Jayhawks?
Hey, shout out Cole in the chat.
Yeah,
He's awesome, man. He just gave me his podcast with the Border War. Shout out them, the Wilderness Brotherhood. But yeah, I think, man, tough to pick because I do like Missouri. But if Jalen Daniels is playing like he's playing, it's tough because he's never truly locked in for a whole season. But like you've seen the flashes of like what he can be when he's healthy. That being said, I'm gonna take Mizzou. I'm confident they have a beast running back that transferred in, Ahmad Hardy, beast running back, and Bo Prabula, who transferred in from Penn State, looked really good. Penn State was apparently unhappy about him going because they wanted him to succeed Drew Aller. So yeah, I'm gonna take Mizzou. I'm riding with Cole. Shout out Cole.
I'm taking Mizzou as well. Bo Pribula, I'm not sure if anybody saw any highlights of their last game. Dude, he was shot out of a cannon running the ball. He had it was like a 60-yard rushing touchdown right up the middle. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Stiggs. He took off.
He's got big speed.
Big speed. Yeah, big time speed. And I think Missouri being at home also helps this game out a lot. Adam? He said, "Give me the Big 12." Say it.
Yeah, not this time, buddy. I'll take Missouri. I don't know if they cover, but I'm going to take Missouri to win. I mean, Jaden Daniel, you said he's been in college football for like 6 years now. But he's still super talented. He can keep it close, but I think Missouri wins eventually.
Bryce? I know you're a big Missouri fan.
Hey, I'm going to kind of steal what Dave was talking about here with Jalen Daniels. He's also in a super senior season, and he has so much potential. His problem at Kansas is he has not been healthy an entire year. He's always got hurt. 4th, 5th, 6th game of the season and been out either the rest of the season or missed 5 or 6 weeks and came in late. I think Kansas is going to get out-coached this game, and I'm going to take Missouri to go ahead and win.
Yeah, and the funny thing, though, about Kansas, if we remember, Jalen Daniels, Kansas went on a streak last year to end their season. Like 3 or 4 games in a row, they were all the underdogs and won against some pretty good teams. So we're with that. The college game day game for this week, we got Michigan going to Oklahoma. Talk about a hate watch this weekend. This is the ultimate of ultimates. Currently, I'm pretty sure OU is favored. Let me see. I was looking at this
by
game.
A touchdown.
Is it? And of course, they get a night game. It's actually 5.5 right now. 7:30 p.m. kickoff. 45.5. A pretty low over/under. OU at home. I want to say boomer here, but like Bryce knows exactly what I'm worried about. Or I'm sorry, Stiggs knows exactly what I'm worried about. Looking at the tape from OU last week with playing a very subpar Illinois State team, and then looking at the tape of Bryce Underwood, this game really worries me for Oklahoma. Their O-line was bad. They were banged up. I know we were talking about that a little bit before. If the O-line doesn't get better, it's going to be a long day for them coming from somebody with experience in that. Also, like, say what we want, Mateer's mechanics are horrible. Like, flat out. And Stiggs can back me up on that. I'm going to go to him next on it. Like, he's going to miss throws that were not there. And when you're playing Illinois State, they're there. But if you're going to be playing a premier program, they're not going to be there. And it really worries me to take Oklahoma at this point. I mean, I'm going to take Oklahoma, but not really, like, that confidently. I'm going to give it to them because they're at home. Stiggs?
Yeah, I'm honestly in the same boat with you. If I would have, I bet if I would have watched, I know that the video he's referencing is Brooks Austin, great film guy on YouTube, broke down Mateer. He dropped another one on Bryce Underwood. Had I watched that before this podcast, I bet it would have swayed me to pick Michigan because it
Yeah,
sounds
he
like he's getting
glazes.
gassed up quite a ton with
He
some of the stuff
glazes.
that he's doing at his age. But I'm gonna stick strong. I'm gonna stand with Boomer. I kind of had them. What was the spread? I had them by
5.5. 5.5 for Boomer at home.
Yeah, so I don't think they'll cover. I had them at like 3.5. I don't know if that was maybe an early line that I saw. I think they'll win by a field goal, max. It's going to be a super tight game. I'm picking them purely because of I do believe in Mateer, and I think that the home field advantage will play a big factor. Also, BV is going to throw some stuff that this kid has never seen before.
I agree with that, and that's also another part of it. Underwood looks really good. We got to remember he's only made one start, and they played nobody. Also, a betting line, if you want to think about this, though, Adam and Bryce, before you guys say your picks, might have to gas this a little bit, Stiggs. Last 7 games head-to-head, the Big Ten is 6-1 against the SEC. So does it change or does it continue? I mean,
That streak's going to continue.
Oh, wow. Okay, Bryce, go ahead.
Michigan's coming into this game. They're going to come in hot. They're going to throw Oklahoma around like a little puppy dog in a box. I think they're going to win this game 27-17. It's not even going to be a close game. Like, Oklahoma played a cupcake last week, and they even struggled against them. So they had 3 turnovers against Illinois State. John Mateer, he threw for almost 400, but he threw to guys that were wide open because Illinois State can't cover defense for crap. Illinois State went like 4-8 last year, so they were nobody. I think Michigan's going to come in and take care of business, and they're going to win this game, like I said, 27-17.
Adam?
I wish I believed in
love
them.
it.
Oh man, I've been back and forth on this one. Honestly, I don't know if I had to pick it like right now. I'm gonna go with Oklahoma in a really really close game.
Gotcha.
I think Bryce will be ready to be in that environment.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I think he will too. I'm not gonna lie, Stiggs. I watched quite a few minutes of that, and his film looked really good. He's firing the ball, but he also was able to have the touch on it. I hate saying that so much. I hate saying it, but Oklahoma's O-line worries me so much. And Mateer.
They are getting 2 starters back on the O line.
That is
this
true.
week,
You did say that. Yeah, they had a linebacker playing.
And yeah, it's so hard to do the judge teams in the first couple weeks, man, because you just don't know how good of a camp and installation they had. So it's all tough.
Yeah, it is. And you don't know what teams are going to be throwing out, when they play Illinois State or New Mexico versus now they're playing Michigan and Oklahoma. The probably pretty limited playbook last week. Adam, I'm going to let me and you go first on this last game, and then I'll just let them kind of take the floor and close us out for the night. Oklahoma State at Oregon. Got 2 guys on the podcast going head-to-head with each other. I'm going to let each one of you guys make your case. Me and Adam will go first. So, Adam, we do have Oklahoma State. So see if you continue with your Big 12 picks at Oregon. Oregon right now on CBS are 28.5-point favorite. And that kickoff is at 3:30 on CBS, and it's an over/under 57.5. I have Oregon winning, but I have Oklahoma State covering by about. I think the spread's going to be kind of close, Bryce. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna do the same there.
Yeah,
Oregon wins. Oklahoma State covers.
I have like 24 or 21.
No, you know what you said earlier, right?
What's that?
Good teams win, great teams
Teams
cover.
cover.
And Oklahoma State's going to cover this game.
All right, you want to go first, Bryce, and then I'll let Stiggs close us out why he's taking his team?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and start this one off.
Okay.
First of all, I want to shout out Oregon fans. They have been a little hostile on Twitter this past week. Mike Gundy said something, taken a little bit out of context, and I guess the national media made a story with it. I think both head coaches were spitting facts. Nothing wrong with what either of them said. But with all that being said, Oklahoma State lost their starting quarterback. Not even done with the first quarter in week 1. And we had to throw in our backup Zane. Zane can still sling that ball, and he can throw it. And I think my hope is that Oklahoma State did not show anything on film, and they did not want to throw the ball because they do not want Oregon to know what's going to happen. I think we're going to be launching that ball downfield. I think that's the only thing we can do if we want to have a chance to win. Our running game sucks. Our passing game can be elite. Our defense is going to be question marks. They're going to be iffy. But we have a dude named Wendell Gregory. He broke a Big 12 record for sacks in week 1. He had 3 sacks in the first half against FCS powerhouse UT Martin. But that being said, I think Oklahoma State has a great chance to make this a fourth quarter game. They may not win. They may surprise the nation. I think they'll definitely cover the spread without a doubt. But Oklahoma State has a chance to shock the country this weekend and prove a lot of people wrong.
So are you taking Oklahoma State to win, or are you?
I mean, I got to at this point. I've been talking this up all off season.
You might owe us some money next week. Hold on.
I'm willing to eat crow next week for it. That's okay. But
I took the bet with you on this.
I know. You, Dave.
Did Adam do it?
Did you take it? I took a screenshot of all the people that said it. There was only 3 people. So I got screenshots of everybody that made bets with me. But we'll see. I'm gonna take him. I'm gonna take him to win this game. So
I like the confidence.
Yeah, you need to.
I'll say the good thing is though Stiggs is so confident in his team. He said he's covering all of us if Oregon loses. So I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't put that out there. Come on now. No, I was gonna tell Fakes he needs to make sure he tells Zai that for any bets that may or may not have been paid out. Yeah. So I'm obviously rolling with the Ducks. I don't think it will be as easy as people are making it out to be. I think, quite honestly, the 28-point spread is egregious. And I'm not trying to just say that because Bryce is on the pod. I've always liked Oklahoma State. I've always liked Gundy. He knows that. But yeah, I think it's going to be more of a slower game because I think both teams are going to try to establish the way that they want to play. I think Oregon will run the ball a lot. We had a big transfer come in, Mekhi Hughes from Tulane. I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. He was supposed to be the guy, and he got 2 carries. He got 2 carries last week.
Yeah, you and Tim were talking about that.
Yeah, we had. I don't think any running back got more than 5 carries. I'm sorry, I don't think any of our backups got more than 5 carries. We had Noah Winnington get 10. I'm looking it up now just so I didn't talk wrong. But yeah, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 running backs get carries. And yeah, it was just a weird game flow. I don't know if they maybe thought, took Montana State lightly and decided to just, rotate some guys in. We don't need you for this one, Mekhi, and we're going to need you next week.
Yeah.
But just on the sentiment from Oregon, we looked horrible against Idaho State last year. I think it was like a 30-17 game, really ugly. Idaho State, gave Oregon trouble. And just going off that and, how strong we ended the regular season last year, looking this good early bodes really well. I'm really happy with how confident Dante Moore looks. I'm already seeing some people, some ball knowers on Twitter that are already maybe, hey, this guy might be a dark horse for the Heisman. I mean, Oregon's only had Heisman candidate quarterbacks the past couple seasons. It could happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm thinking that same thing you guys. Oregon wins. I don't think they cover. I do think it'll be in the 15 to 20 point range with Oregon being able to run the ball and Dante Moore not having to do too much with his arm, using a lot of screens underneath stuff.
Yeah, I initially was thinking like this spread should be about 14.5, 13.5, 16.5, somewhere in that range. Going to Audson's not easy. Gundy's going to find that out since he was talking all that raw. That's all he was doing. That's exactly how he meant it.
Yeah,
I
did want to touch on that. I'm glad that Bryce has the opinion there. Where they were just both just saying they're both saying their point of view on college football. Mike Gundy is not afforded the same amenities that Oregon NIL provides. And I'm not saying Oregon NIL has a blank checkbook because they don't, and it's a common misconception. But they do have money to spend.
Yeah.
And it's just different ends of the spectrum. You know, Mike Gundy's probably trying to make a pitch to some of his superiors, like, I need some money if you want me to actually have a shot with these guys,
Yeah.
a real shot.
That's how I
I'd
took
also
it
Because
too.
like to point
I
out
think
to
if,
that.
I think if they're
Uh,
at Stillwater, it's a totally different game. By the way.
The comments Mike Gundy said was in a question on what he thought about this upcoming week against Oregon. And he started off with, they're a good team, they're well coached, and they like to spend money. And after that, the media ran with a whole lot of different narratives, trying to make a story out of nothing, which I think was ridiculous. But
It's the
like you
media.
said,
It happens. They were making a story about him saying it's not that loud to play there as well. I saw
Really?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's-
saw that earlier.
To play devil's advocate, there was a question where they just asked him like what they thought about Dante Moore, and he just went like straight to, you know, oh, he's the best quarterback that they've had there recently, so it's going to cost a lot of money to keep him. Like, he didn't have to go straight to NIL there. He could have just been, yeah, he's a good young kid.
Yeah, that sounds like some salt. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah.
think-
So there was a couple, you know, where I thought, you know, he did, you
Little
know,
jabs in there.
made it easier for me not to like him. But I like Gundy, and I know it's just him. He's been doing this stuff for years. It's not anything new. He will say stuff about the other teams that he's playing that it's just what he does, you know.
Yeah.
And I like it.
Yeah.
do you think Dante Moore is going to struggle in this game? This is his first game in over 2 years against Power 5 opponent. No.
Yeah. I mean, he started 5 games for UCLA, and you know it was a mixed bag. They also were just a mess with, you know, Chip Kelly, you know, kind of wanted to leave but couldn't, and eventually left for Ohio State rather. But yeah, it's going to be I would say it's his toughest game. I don't remember specifically his opponents that he played for UCLA, so don't hold me to that. But yeah, I think it'll be his toughest game, and simply because of the review after I, you know, got to watch a little bit of the, you know, rewatch the game and watch him specifically. He didn't have to do too much, but the throws that he was making, like, they were on time, they were there. There was one play where whoever was breaking it down did a really good job of, you know, doing the route concepts, and he's like, you know, Dante Moore's getting to this mesh concept over here, and that's the 3rd and 4th read. So for him to be, you know, making those strides this early is really promising. So to answer your question, I do think he might struggle early, but I think he will be more than sufficient enough in this game. He won't be the reason we lose, if that were to happen.
I completely agree.
What would happen if y'all were to lose this game, Dave?
It would we wouldn't be able to run the ball, and you would have to, you know, have a special teams play, or, you know, a big defensive play, a fumble recovery for a 6, a safety.
I agree. I completely agree.
You know, something like that. You know how it is. It's almost like in the NCAA tournament. What are the March Madness teams? They got to shoot the 3 ball. Like, you guys got to have a couple big plays on offense and a big defensive play or 2, and keep Oregon's offense in check. Because if our whole passing game is predicated on the run game, we can't. It's like Tennessee's offense a lot. If they can't run the ball, we can't throw as efficiently as we can. Maybe it's different this year because DG didn't have as big arm and couldn't make all the throws that Dante can. But the trade-off with that, he's not going to be as in command of the offense as, you know, 5-year vet Dylan Gabriel was.
Yeah, that's fair.
I completely agree. Is there anything else we want to add to the show tonight, guys? I know we started a little bit later than I wanted because of the lasagna. I'm sorry, but is there anything else we want to add? I want to thank all the viewers. We held about 7 to 10 all night. But anybody checking us out on YouTube, want to say thank you. Shout out to Sketchy for making the slide. Shout out to sponsors, G Fuel and Velocity Esports on the Levy. Guys, I think the production level went a lot higher up this week. I'm very happy with that. So, anybody want to add anything else before we end?
Go Pokes.
I'll add something real quick just to add on to the group of 4 stuff. Some good G4 matchups this week. Texas State versus UTSA. That's always a good in-state rivalry. UAB versus Navy. UAB got a big win last week, brought back their gold helmets. And then I already kind of highlighted this one, WKU versus Toledo. Looking forward to see how these P4 teams stack up against each other. Or I'm sorry, G4.
Yeah, you're the man on that, Stiggs. I got to give you props on that. Adam, you got anything to say?
I'll just Cats by 90.
Cats
Oh.
by 90. Fine, if everyone's talking about their own team, I'll just say I'm happy that we're back where we belong in the rankings. So I'll just go off of that. But